All right. We got a few people coming in the back. How's everybody doing this rainy day? All right. All the gardeners know all this rain will bring pollen. No, it'll bring flowers and all sorts of good stuff. Is Maria? There she is. All right. I'm going to bring Maria up to open the meeting.
Well, hello, friends. I'm Maria La Sala, the Spiritual Care Coordinator here at Whitney Center. And it's always a delight to be with you. So it's March Madness. How many of you are tuning in to the women and men's NCAA basketball games? I know, I've been staying up way too late. Connecticut teams are making us proud, aren't they? All right, Yale lost on Sunday night, but they surpassed most people's expectations. And the UConn women and the UConn men continue to impress. With just a few more games to go, dare we be hopeful for a Connecticut sweep? Now, I know you are probably wondering why your spiritual care coordinator has begun her comments this morning talking about March Madness, right? Well, I'm going to tell you. The other day, I read about a study that stated how March Madness was beneficial to seniors. Not high school or college seniors, by the way, but folks like you and me. Yes, a few years ago, there was such a study done to prove that following sports like the NCAA basketball tournament is beneficial to our well-being, especially as we get older. Here's what I learned. Watching and talking about sports brings back memories of earlier days, even if they weren't easier days. There is something, it seems, about watching sports teams do what they do best that brings us connection and pleasure. And I think this can be true even when our teams lose, but some might beg to differ on that point. But that's why some call this season March Gladness, because we get to root for our favorite teams and players, cheering them on, even if we're doing it from our sofas. Psychologists say getting hooked on hoops helps folks stay active, connected, and engaged with their favorite teams. This engagement serves as a great exercise for our brains and a way to bring back memories of our own involvement playing on sports teams or cheering for others we knew and loved. Who doesn't like to see strong bodies in motion? Even here, Robert Schmelzer and his fitness team work to see that this community moves. Right. So according to the Journal of Media Psychology, March Madness can provide an escape from the everyday woes in life, if only for a few hours. Older people, especially those who live alone or are experiencing some physical limitations, are more likely to relate to televised events. Watching sports helps us get outside ourselves. And a study from the University of Chicago says that when we sit and watch a game, our brain is actually playing the game itself, fulfilling a psychological need to belong, building a sense of nostalgia, and spurring on brain activity. Who knew all this could happen by simply watching the NCAA March Madness tournament? Knowing you, I bet you did. Friends, as I do each month, I want to share with you the names of those from our community who have died since our last gathering. This is not easy for me to say or for you to hear. I know that. So, from our Meadow Mills community, we remember Amos Lucarelli, Ann Harrison, George Gearing, and Elaine Raucci. From our health center community, we remember Annette Simmel, mother of one of our nurses, Patty Simmel. And from the Whitney Center community, we remember Carol Wilson, Maria Pizarro, Mers Peters, and Phyllis Medvedow. So let us pause for a moment and give thanks for their lives lived among us. You know, there are still 2 weeks left of this March Madness. So I'm going to encourage you to watch some TV these next weeks, maybe with friends, and celebrate youth and celebrate you, your bodies, your minds, your spirits. Go Whitney Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. We're going to bring Lynn up, and I believe she's going to say a few words and introduce a special guest.
Maria always gives me a few good lead-ins. I have to say, my favorite sport is arguably baseball. Go Red Sox. Oh, wow. I thought I was in Yankee country. And I think maybe it's because baseball is a nice, slow game that my mind can follow. However, I'm here to point out that behind us, through the windows, which I think are both open enough that you can see, there is a beautiful 102-acre property that has just been sitting there for years, somewhat polluted, but park-like. And there are a couple of groups that would like to encourage the town and Olin Manufacturing, which owns the property, to think about and do it, to turn it into an actual park. And Joe Blumberg has been very active on the Six Lakes Coalition, which I believe is part of Save the Sound, but it's, yeah. They're all working toward the same goal, that we preserve open land. So Joe, your turn.
Good morning, friends and neighbors. A little history about the Six Lakes, which is what we call it now and what has previously been called the Olin Powder Farm. The 102.5 acres that lie behind us has been the property of first of the Winchester Firearms Company and then Olin. And what it was used for over the years was as a weapons testing facility. As a result, the ground and the water became polluted with lead from the guns, gunpowder, and then for some reason that I cannot figure out at all, Olin buried thousands of batteries back there. Deep, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has been after Olin for some 37 years to clean up the property. Excuse me. The town of Hamden wants to take over the property and make it into a public park. I'm not sure at this point, and no one is sure at this point, if it will be a town park or a state park. I know the town is trying to have it become a state park. The cleanup of this park is estimated to be at a minimum cost of $8 million. Olin is obviously a large corporation, and they got a few bucks in their pockets. There are various levels of pollution cleanup. The Olin Corp did a lousy job of bringing it to the least severe cleanup, which is an industrial cleanup. Deep wants them to bring it up to a residential status. In order to do this, we are asking, or we have been asked to have a petition signed here to give support. It don't cost nobody nothing. However, let me read out portion of this petition to you. Petition to restore and conserve Six Lakes / Olin Powder Farm as an act of restorative justice for Southern Hamden and a park for the benefit of all. We represent the many organizations and faith groups that make up the Six Lakes Park Coalition, along with local residents and concerned citizens. We ask you to support the Six Lakes Parks Coalition efforts to promote environmental justice and establish a public park on the current site of the Olin Powder Farm and to hold Olin accountable for its cleanup. Help us promote access to clean, green spaces for our community. Deep must hold Olin accountable for full and expeditious remediation of industrial pollution at Six Lakes with the aim of creating a public park there. When this meeting adjourns, I will be seated on Main Street. There's a table set up out there with petitions, and I'm going to ask you to sign up for them. The petitions ask for your name, your signature, your address, and your email. And I look forward to having as many people as possible sign up, because it's just going to make the place more beautiful than it even is today. Thank you. Yes.
Is the petition limited to Hamden residents, does just the residents or here, or can staff, even though they don't live in the town of Hamden?
I believe
sign it?
that staff can sign up. It does ask for the town of residence.
Okay,
but,
but we could still,
You can still
petition.
sign it.
Okay.
And your signature is worth something, pal.
Okay.
Thank you, friends.
All right. Now for the best part of the program.
Wait a minute.
No, this is the best part of the program. It's the marketing update. So, first, I'd like to let everybody know, and she's sitting right there. Judith Normandin is in 645B, and she's one of our, I think she is our most recent move-in. So please welcome her. You want to wave? There you go. All right. And now for the good stuff. All right. So currently, we only have 13 apartments that are available. Yeah, ooh, wow. 15% of them are one bedrooms, 85% are two bedrooms, and 9 are in the north building, and 4 are in the south building. To date, we've had 7 releases so far. Excuse me. There are currently 7 apartments reserved, of which 5 have gone through the approval process, 2 are halfway through the approval process and will get approved. We have 1 new resident who's moved in since the last town hall. Bet you can't guess who that was. We are anticipating another 6 moves in the second quarter. All 6 are slated to move into the north building. We continue to be at 94% reserved and occupied and 91% occupied. To date, we've moved 6 residents in. 5 have moved into the north building. 1 has moved into the south building. Thrive at Home didn't have any new members since our last meeting, but we have 2 or 3 applications that we're working on. 2 members have joined for the year, and there are 96 active members. I'm looking at Michelle because I undercut it last time I was up here. And then Meadow Mills, we're currently have 51 out of 60 of the apartments over there filled, and we have a couple of people in the pipeline for Meadow Mills. So that is the marketing update. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Oh, Joe.
Which building has more apartments total?
The question is, which building has more apartments? And the north building has more apartments. Yep. Yep. The question was, what's the total number? 88 in the south, 100. Yeah, 231 total. Yeah. So 88 minus 231. Yeah, that's it. Any other questions that are out there? All right. Then it is with pleasure that I bring up Ann from Finance to do a presentation. There she is over there. Everybody, welcome Ann. Give her a big round of applause.
Hi. I don't know what Sean's talking about. Obviously, finance is everybody's favorite. I'm Ann Matiste. I'm the controller. I oversee the day-to-day of the business office. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about statement delivery. We have some updates coming. First, I'm going to do it in 2 sections. We are going to shift to having an outside service, print and mail the statements for you guys. So we've heard concerns over the last 2 months where we tried to take the delivery off of security's plate because they have better things to do with their time to keep you guys safe and to keep the building safe than deliver statements. However, there were concerns that the statements were in those open mail slots. We've heard you, we understand. We're going to have this outside service mail them. That's going to start with the April 1st statements. We do anticipate that, because it's the post office, it's going to take a little bit of extra time. And we ask for your patience. We believe that the statement should arrive sometime around April 12th. I can't guarantee that date. So if it doesn't arrive on the 12th, or it arrives before the 12th, or a little bit after, we appreciate your patience. If you have concerns regarding that, we are open to hear those and answer any questions you have. So are there any questions about that piece? Dr. Askenace.
What is this change going to cost?
So it is obviously going to cost a little bit of money, but it is something that we have been budgeting for because it's part of a bigger project that we've been planning for about a year.
What is that?
That's the next segment.
Okay.
So great lead-in, thank you. The next segment is that we are going to launch an online portal. So this is something that we've been working really hard on for the last year. There were a lot of bugs because we ended up unknowingly being beta testers for this portal. We believe we've worked through all the kinks. We want to go live with that portal on June 1st. And in a lead up to that, we're going to do some education sessions in May so that residents and their families can take a look at the portal, get used to it, ask their questions, get a little training on it so you understand how to access it and what you can do on the portal. Before we do those education sessions, we are looking for 10 to 12 residents or family members to test it for us in April. Log on, play around, see if you can navigate, and give us some feedback on what would be good things for us to include in those education sections, things that you found challenging that we want to make sure we address when we talk to the wider community. If you would like to volunteer to be one of those residents, or you think your family might be willing to volunteer, come down and see me in the business office, give me a call, or shoot me an email, whatever you're comfortable with. And it will be first come, first serve. So if we have 25 people who are like, yes, I want to get on the portal, unfortunately, it's going to be the first 10 to 12. Okay. I have a couple of bullet points, but are there any immediate questions regarding that? Hold on, let's wait for the mic so everybody can hear you.
How do you communicate with people who don't have cell phones or computers? You're talking about a portal, which is high, so how do they communicate, find out about it?
Yep. So are you asking how they're going to find out about the portal or how they're going to access their bill once the portal is live?
Both.
Okay. So using the portal is not mandatory. You will still continue to receive a paper bill. Once the portal is live, you can opt out of a paper bill if you choose, but you can still receive the paper bill, even if you decide to use the portal and you still want to get that in the mail because you like to have the paper for your records. So it's not mandatory. So if you're not great with technology, that's not going to be a problem. To make people aware that there is a portal, if you don't have a phone and you're not on email, then I would expect you probably aren't interested in the portal because technology isn't your jam, and that's totally fine.
But you still live here.
Yes. Karen.
Could you tell us some of the things that are on the portal?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not very fancy. It's pretty straightforward. You can go on and access your bill. You can pay your bill electronically. Auto pay will still happen as it usually does. But if you're one of those people that isn't quite comfortable with the auto pay and you like to look at your bill and then give us a payment, you can do that on the portal. Through a bank account, we still can't take credit cards, unfortunately. But that's pretty much it. You will be able to go back and look at prior period statements. So like at the end of the year, you can print your whole statements for the year and hand them to your CPA. That won't replace the summary that some people like to get, but you will have the ability to go back and do that. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward, basic. Any other questions? No? I heard it sounds good. Yay! Some things to note, though, it does not going to change the statement format. The statement format's still going to be the same, that detailed statement that, again, we have to ascribe to because long-term care insurance companies prefer that. Access to your bills will happen a little bit faster, so we know the post office is probably going to be a little bit slower because it's the post office. Once the portal is live, you will be able to access your bill the day after the bills are complete. So that's one of the advantages. And I think I touched on everything else. Oh, one more question. Hold on.
Here you go.
Oh, no. In front, yep.
In reference to income tax.
Yeah.
How does that bill go in income tax?
So we
Your
can't.
monthly bill?
Yep, so we can't recommend specific tax strategies. We recommend that you talk to a tax professional because we're not tax professionals. We do at the end of the year publish a letter that helps tax professionals determine potentially how much might be deductible from your bill. And we can provide a summary of your expenses for the year. It's not an official tax document, but it does give a tax professional a good jumping off point to help you figure out the right way to go about filing.
Then I'll just go to you and you'll give me the information.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oh, one more question, Deanie.
Thanks. About not using credit cards, that's a financial decision, I assume, because it saves the agency money. It saves WC money. Is that correct?
So yes, so we can't
Okay.
accept credit cards for monthly bills because our average merchant fee is 5 to 6%.
Got it. Okay.
And that's not a fee that we can legally pass on to you in Connecticut.
Right. Thanks.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Next up is Dan Zullo, everybody's actual favorite at these things.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to start out by saying it's springtime, which is a good thing. Yeah, we have a lot of rain, it's still kind of cold, but spring is coming. I just ordered a few hundred filters so that we can, hopefully in the next month, month and a half, start going around changing everybody's filter for their heating and air conditioning unit. I will talk more about that probably mid-April, late April. We'll come up with a schedule, we'll inform everybody. At the same time this year, we're also going to be changing out the batteries to your door locks. That is all done on the outside of your door, so whether you're home or not doesn't matter. We're able to change the batteries from there. I have all those ordered. That's all ready and prepared. The batteries have obviously a lifespan. We've kind of met that lifespan, so we're going to use this as an opportunity. We're going to everybody's rooms anyways. We'll do it all in one shot, so you'll have a brand new filter and some brand new batteries. Okay? I had a comment the other day, more of a concern of the security of the building at night, the doors, just the internal access that people may have to the building. I want to assure you that we do rounds. We walk the building at night. We check all of the doors. They're going to shake the doors, rattle them, make sure that they're latched properly, make sure that there's no obstructions that are in the way, anything like that. It's an immediate issue if there is a concern, if something's not latching properly. We have the ability to manually lock a lot of these doors. Maintenance would then, get involved for these things, and we would take care of it as soon as we can. We have vendors for all that. So I want you to feel safe. I don't want anybody thinking that these doors are just a free-for-all at night. They're not. People with key cards are allowed access, but they are locked down and they are looked at. Okay, and if anybody knows Lawrence, who sits at the north desk in the mornings, maybe you see him. He's our midnight shift person, and he's incredibly thorough. That man has information for me every single morning, so I can promise you, he's doing his job. He's walking around and keeping you all safe. The last thing I wanted to talk about was maybe 2 weeks ago now, we had the state elevator inspector here to check on all of our elevators in the north and the south building. Our report that we got back was very positive. There was very minimal amount of violations, and the violations were mostly just the pit was dirty. So they wanted us to clean out the pit. We had one actual phone test issue, which we immediately corrected the same day, and the rest were very minimal violations. We had ThyssenKrupp, who's our contractor for the north building. They came, already took care of those violations. I have a scheduled appointment with Schindler, who takes care of our south building, for the next week and a half. They said they could probably get here because it's nothing detrimental to functioning. It's nothing operational. Again, it's the pit, some notes, some record keeping, things like that. So while they were here, while the inspector was here, while the technicians were here, and I was walking with them, we got hit with quite a few comments of, oh, the elevators are broken again. Oh, they're down again. What's wrong with them now? I would appreciate if you don't assume that there's always a problem with these things when I have somebody here, okay? A lot of it is proactive energy that we put into this. You know, the inspector comes once a year, they do their job. Our actual technicians all have preventative maintenance that they perform, and, you know, they come quarterly, they come semi-annually for different items. So please be assured that we take care of the elevators. Just because you see somebody here, just because you see me over there, doesn't mean that there's something wrong. He was cleaning is exactly what he was doing. There was absolutely nothing wrong. It was back into service in 10 minutes. So just, you know, please keep that in mind when you see the elevators. Anybody have any questions? Yes, we'll get you on microphone.
Hi, it's okay, but yesterday on my way down to breakfast, I go down every morning, 7:25. I got into the elevator in the and I slipped all over. It was slippery as could be, greasy, oily, instead of just wet.
Inside the car?
Inside the car.
Okay.
Right. I don't know what it was, but it hadn't been rinsed off after it had been soaked or something.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah.
Want to let you know.
It was what? Okay. Okay, we can look into it, sure. I mean, usually when cleanings, I know signs go up and things like that. Barbara could probably speak to that more, but, you know, sometimes there's spills as well. But I'll look into it.
Sure.
Judy, did you report it to anyone? Yesterday morning after you got off the elevator?
Excuse me. Yes, I said to one of the maintenance
Oh,
people.
good, okay.
Right there, but.
Wonderful, thank you.
I don't know that anything was done about it.
Okay,
Right.
that's fine. I'm just, you know, I just want to make sure you didn't wait till today
Yeah,
to
it was
report
so
at the meeting, so,
slippery, yeah.
okay, thank you.
No, I think they cleaned it up.
In the South Tower elevator on the north building, as you come down on it, as you pass the second floor, many times it makes a very strange sound. No idea what that could be.
South Tower elevator?
South Tower of the north building.
Okay. Well, like I said, the inspector was just here. They ride all the elevators. I actually rode with them. They were on top of the car while I was in the car. We didn't find anything, you know, wrong with those. I didn't feel anything, actually. She questioned the center stage basement elevator because it has that little glitch between floors 2 and 3 usually. She did question that, which is a weld joint on a mechanical part. So it's very safe. It was just part of an upgrade that we had to make. That was the only thing she pointed out.
I brought it up because my wife was concerned.
Sure. Oh, okay. I see her in the back.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of walking lately, and I go through I try to get through all the doors, the exits, just trying to get a sense of, you know, what's going on, just paying attention to stuff. One of the things I noticed is that one of the stairwells leading, the door leading outdoors, gets jammed open with a rock. I'm not sure, we can assume it could be contractors, we could assume it could be residents, I don't know, or staff. So let's not do that. I kicked the rock away, the next day I came back, it was there, I threw the rock away the next time, so there's this like secret battle going on between the rock and someone else and me. So anyway, please do not prop the doors open, because it's convenient. You know, there are doors with access, you know, around the perimeter, but that does compromise our safety.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to the people who feed us, and I think Lynn's going to come up here.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm keeping with my joke for the month, each month. It's an Easter joke. What day do Easter eggs hate the most? Friday. Okay. So here are the dining updates. Yesterday, we finished up our 4th and final focus group. with regards to the pub food. We are putting together our notes, and we will be talking with the dining committee and going over our notes and our findings with them on steps to move forward. We'll update when appropriate, when we're done talking with the dining committee and planning our steps forward. Easter, we still have a few reservations available for our 2 p.m. slot. Right now, our 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. are full. So go ahead and call and make your 2 p.m. reservations. We have a great menu. And sticking with March Madness, we've been playing the games in the pub on both TVs. We've had a great turnout. Just wanted to let you know we're going to continue to do this for the rest of the March Madness, as well as continue moving forward with other events. The next event that we're going to be having both TVs up and running will be the Kentucky Derby, which I believe is the first Saturday of the month, and we'll be having mint juleps and maybe some other specialty cocktails. And then I also wanted to bring up, you guys are all going to be very happy with me, and I'm sorry Mike's not here to tell you, but the Bistro Burger is back. It will be back on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, April 2nd. It's going to be available for dinner only in the Bistro. And the other update I have is stews will be gone as of April 8th, and we will be starting with the smoothies. So smoothies will be back week of April 8th. And that's all I have for updates. Does anybody have any questions? Wow, that was quick. Oh, nope. Almost.
Making reservations for the 5:45 or even the 6:15 dinner, sometimes it's impossible. What's happening with, is it just that more people want to eat in the center stage?
So with regard to 5:45, that's always been very popular, but we actually are going to be working with the dining committee on some possible solutions to dining reservations. So we'll update you. We are looking at some other alternatives, and we have kind of opened up the 5:45, but we're still working on some things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know, what is the plan for lobster rolls?
Lobster rolls, there's still, we're still having lobster rolls. It is the second Friday of every month. It is posted on K4. I think it was posted at the beginning of the year, but I can send out a reblast with the rest of the dates for the remainder of the year. Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, so Lynn, before COVID, in Center Stage, we used to have a specialty ice cream available occasionally, like cappuccino crunch or toffee coffee or something exotic. And I'm asking if that could happen again now that we're beyond COVID, maybe?
Okay, sure, that's something I can absolutely look into. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Maria Freda is up next.
Hi, good morning, everyone. All right. Hey, Lynn, just in case you need to know that the New York Rangers, Ranger fans out there, hey, are in the playoffs. So I hope you're going to also feature some hockey games too, and I will be there. All right. Pardon? Oh, yeah, them too. Right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got tunnel vision. Absolutely. Yeah, and Yale has a pretty good hockey team as well. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and a special welcome to those first attending the town meeting. It's very nice to see you. So the adage is April showers bring May flowers, but here at Whitney Center, April showers, well, I'm excited to say that you'll be showered with many things that are exciting and interesting, and it'll even include the moon events, both here and off campus. So be prepared throughout April to be showered with wonderful, exciting engagement opportunities. So and here are just a few reminders of the April events that are on the calendar. For you John Walsh fans, and I all know who you are, His Matisse Up Close and All Around the World will be streamed live from the Yale Gallery here in the CAC starting at 1:30 p.m. on April 2nd, 4th, 9th, and 11th. The lectures are an hour long. So once again, if it's April, it must mean John Walsh. On April 8th, in collaboration with the Hamden Recreation Department, Corinne Campbell, a dementia care specialist from LiveWell, will present a brain fitness workshop here at 3 o'clock, which will be very exciting, and I'm hoping many of you will attend. But for those of you wanting to witness, providing it is not cloudy, the partial solar eclipse is happening at just about the same time. And there's nothing, right, Professor Heisner? There's nothing we can do about that. We can't do much about the weather, and we can't do much about the time. But there are some important information. There is some important information that our resident, Arnold Heisner, and renowned astronomer, has offered to me to share with the community, and I will be posting that on K4. But just so that you know, so you can prepare, the partial solar eclipse in Hamden will reach its maximum coverage of the sun, which is 91%, at 3:27 p.m. on Monday afternoon, April 8th. The whole eclipse begins starting at 2:12 and ends at about 4:37 p.m. Evidently, the altitude of the sun at the maximum eclipse will be about 42 degrees above the horizon in a general western direction. So in Whitney Center talk and layman's talk, that means you should be in the north parking lot. That will be the best vantage point for you to see it. Because the sun will be above the trees, and that will be until a little after 4 o'clock p.m. And because this is only a partial eclipse, one must view it with the eclipse glasses. Actually, a professor was able to get some glasses for us from the lecturer that was here last Monday. So glasses will be available at the north desk, but it is in a very limited number. They won't be available until Monday. And if you are interested and need to purchase eclipse glasses, I will also post that information on K4. With the proper code number that's needed for them. And they can also be purchased online through Amazon, or you could go to Lowe's Hardware to purchase them as well. So there's a lot going on in April, which is very exciting. Also on April 30th, I'll be featuring the Simon Schama film about British artist William Turner. And on April 5th, off campus, there will be a trip to the Yale Gallery to see the Munch and Kirchner exhibit. And at this time, the bus is full. I will be sending out a confirmation to those registered residents. If there are any changes, I will let everyone know that it is available. But the joy of living here at Whitney Center knows that at any time, if you need to get dropped off at the Yale Gallery to see the show, you can do that. Just arrange that with transportation, with Cynthia, and of course, it's always accessible by car. On April 16th, there is a bus to the Bruce Museum for the Hockney Show, and in that case too, that list is pretty much full, but I'll send out information so that if there are any cancellations, you can hook on to that. And last but not least, there are the finishing touches, along with furniture deliveries and line details, are making their way to the guest rooms. There have been a long-awaited redo of the guest rooms, and I'm very, very excited to thank especially Mark Brown, Kara Roney, and the Special Events Project team to have done their wonderful work in getting the guest rooms looking just as beautiful as you would expect them to look, because it matters. It matters when your friends and family members come, whether it's for a happy occasion or to find a quiet place to just take some time of solitude. I'm also working really closely with Melissa and her team on updating some of the confirmation processes and methods as well, so that everybody is well informed of check-in times, parking spaces, and of course, all of the services that are offered here. A welcoming, an open house actually, or to welcome all of you to get a preview of what the guest rooms look like, will be the last week in May, and guests will be welcomed starting May 1st. Also in May, there is also going to be a trip, I haven't posted this yet, to the New Britain Museum. And after this month of April, I don't know about you, but I am going to need a nice, relaxing museum visit. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Wait, hold on. I'm coming. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all right. I was wondering if we're going to have a trip to the Peabody Museum now that it's open again.
Yes, yeah. Okay, yes, yes. They are booked. They are booked through June 14th. I have put requests in for for preferred dates from 1, 2, 3. So you just have to be patient. It's not going to happen until midsummer. Okay? All right. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
It was also about the Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very crowded for a while.
Yes.
But can we have a group visit with with a docent?
Of course. That's the only way we do it. Yes, not to June. Anyone else? No? Okay, great. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Raf. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
That's for you, totally. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rafael Avila. I am Vice President of Technology Services. I don't have any gadgets and gizmos to demonstrate this time, but I'd like to share some exciting news. The Communication and Technology Committee has been working diligently behind the scenes, and I'm thrilled to announce that they will soon be launching an electronic marketplace exclusively for our community. This marketplace will serve as a platform where you can post items you wish to sell or give away, as well as request items that you're in need of. I'm incredibly proud to say that this initiative has been made possible through the dedicated efforts of our Communications and Technology Committee, the K4 Subcommittee, and the Marketplace Task Force, who have been working in collaboration with our IT department, particularly Nick Ricciardi. While the committee is putting the finishing touches on this project, we anticipate an official announcement from them detailing the platform and when the marketplace will be live. So stay tuned for more information on this. Second, I want to bring to your attention some necessary maintenance work, maintenance work we need to perform on some technology systems. We've identified some critical systems that need some updates, some maintenance patching, particularly those responsible for our PERS, our emergency response pendants, and our telephone system. Given the life safety function of these systems, we've made the decision to conduct this maintenance work during normal hours of operation. Typically, we do these things overnight, so it's less disruptive. But again, given that this work will mean that your PERS will be non-operational, your phone will be down, we need all the resources available to us because things sometimes don't go as planned or as smoothly as we like. And we like to be able to pull all resources or all hands on deck should something happen. So we've identified a window of time between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. to conduct the work. We haven't decided on a date just yet because there's a little planning involved here. We recognize that we will likely have to perform some safety checks after the 2-hour window. We want to make sure everyone is safe. We'll probably visit every door, knock on the door. If you answer, great. If you don't, we'll want to go ahead and take a peek in your home to make sure you're okay. And then we'll do a sweep of the campus, parking lots, garages, just make sure that no one is out there in need of emergency help. And it's expected that some folks might feel a little anxious. The reality is you're not going to have a lifeline, right? Should you have an emergency. You can't rely on that pendant. You can't rely on your home phone. Some suggestions were made. Perhaps those that are feeling a little bit anxious about this could reach out to a neighbor someone on your floor. Maybe you can spend the 2 hours in good company with somebody. Perhaps you can come down to a common area where there's more people activity, hang out there for a couple hours. And if you have a cell phone, you definitely want to keep that nearby if you need that. No exact date yet, but we just wanted to make the community aware that this is something we are preparing for, and one of those things that we have to do every now and then. Those are my 2 updates. Any questions for me? Okay. At this time, we're going to bring Melissa DeGrand up. Thank you.
We're changing it up a little. Okay. Good morning. My name is Melissa DeGrand, Resident Services Manager, and I oversee transportation and reception for anybody new here. I would like to introduce and bring up Cynthia Sanchez. She will be our transportation coordinator.
I'm a little nervous. Good morning, Whitney Center. Today I'm very happy to showcase Whitney Center's new vehicle. Next slide. So this vehicle will replace the Lincoln Town Car that everyone knows and loves. It's a 2024 Subaru Forester. It has plenty of space and lots of safety features to ensure you have a very safe and reliable ride. Next slide. I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the donors of our philanthropy program. This car will serve the community, and it really would not be possible with your generosity. So thank you to the donors. Yeah. So I'm glad to be up here to speak to the Whitney Center community. I'm very excited to be coordinating Whitney Center's transportation and its needs. This includes your medical appointments, your recreational appointments, your group trips, and possibly anything that could fall under that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. Or if you'd like to schedule a ride, call either call the transportation line, which is 203-848-2607. But thank you so much for your time and attention. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a quick one.
Okay.
Are you still going to be at the South Desk?
Yes.
Oh, thank
Yes, I
God.
will.
You're my go-to girl.
Any other questions? Any other questions? No? We're good? Okay, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
No. I get to introduce you, and for those of you who couldn't do the math, there are 143 apartments in the north building. Now I turn it over to the lovely and wonderful Peggy Joyce.
So I'd love to stand here and say I have nothing to share with you today, but unfortunately, we all know what's going on in the community. So first, I want to thank those residents that have sent me multiple emails letting me know how I should handle COVID. I appreciate your feedback, and I take it all in, and I do appreciate your thoughts because I know everybody has a little different view of how things should go, and I do appreciate that. I'm being funny about it, but I have actually adapted some of the thoughts that I have received to make appropriate changes. As we know, we've been living with COVID now for 4 years. It's never taken lightly because those of us in the age group that we all are, we need to take it seriously. But we also know we have to learn to live with it. Chris, I want to thank you for saying we're post-COVID today. That was a little refreshing because I think the message I've been trying to say meeting after meeting is COVID is here to stay. We're never gonna, initially we thought in so many months it would be gone, it would be a contagious of the past. We'd never hear the word again. We all know better now. We're all much more educated. We're much more understanding of how it works, how it operates, how it moves through the community, through the United States, through the world. It is here to stay. So my job is not to panic all of you when we do have a rise in cases, because I'm actually surprised it took this long for our cases to go up. I really thought February was more likely to be when we would see this bit of a surge. But we need to be reasonable to know that it's going to ebb and flow. We know the winter months are a little bit worse than the summer. We usually do really well without hardly any cases, if any, during the summer. We know winter time, it likes cold, so it does flourish. But there's no need to panic. And I know sitting in your chairs, you might be, well, if I get it, I could die. That is what happened in the beginning. I'm here to tell you, yes, there are deaths from COVID, but generally those are people that are unvaccinated, don't follow any guidance, don't follow what CDC and DPH tells us to do to protect ourselves. So we're not in the same category as the people that you hear that are out there that are dying from this disease. We have not had a death at Whitney Center in years from COVID. In the beginning, nobody knew how to manage this. We weren't even getting guidance from the Department of Public Health. Now we're so educated on how this works that we can prevent a lot of the issues. So I do appreciate feedback. Like I said, I do listen to all of it. I did respond to most of the emails. A couple I just haven't yet. I have to figure out the correct wording to respond, because some of them were not very pleasant. And again, I just want to say, I do welcome them, but just put it in perspective, that this is not something that we all need to really worry about. I will tell you, I know there is a group of residents out there that are very concerned with numbers. That's what I'm hearing. Like, I want to know the magic number. I'm going to give you the numbers today, because I think it's important for you to understand how we figure all this out. But the numbers is not the main issue. The number is how you live your life every day. There's no way, if you have dinner with me tonight and then tonight I test myself because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather and I'm positive, there's no way I could have predicted that I might infect you. So we need to understand that those things are going to happen, and there's no way to be proactive unless you're of the mindset that you really cannot deal with the thought of getting COVID. And then for those individuals that are so heightened about this, I tell you, always wear a mask, or better yet, don't leave your apartment. And I say that to be serious, because there are some of your colleagues here that are so heightened about getting COVID that they are isolating in the apartment because they are so afraid to come out. And that's okay for them if that's how they want to live. But it's no need for the general campus to have to change all of our guidelines. Like, there are people amongst this community that feels we should be masked 24/7. Everybody should be tested every day. That's 4 years ago. That is not now. So I am going to with my clinical team, do everything in our power to keep you as safe as we can. But I'm going to just go over some of the numbers, because I know that's important to people. So again, from January 1st all the way through March 9th, so that was like 10, 11 weeks, we only had 5 cases in the entire campus, which was phenomenal, because we saw last year in January, we did have an outbreak. It was much more than this one, but it was still an outbreak. And I want to tell you, an outbreak is considered one case. So if you have one case in the building, it's considered an outbreak. You don't need 50 people. So during that time period, there were just 5 cases. From the 9th to the 14th, there was only 2 cases, and then we went several days with no cases. The beginning of the week of March 18th is when we started to see cases increase. It was 2, then we skipped a day, 1, 2. By Wednesday, Thursday, I'm like, okay, I need to tell the community that I see the numbers increasing, just to prepare you all, to have you be able to make the best choice possible. I did write a memo on Friday, and I apologize, it didn't get out to you till Sunday. That was a gap in my communication, so I take full responsibility for that. But on Sunday, you did know that we had 9 people that were infected with COVID. This past week, what I've been speaking with my clinical team and others about how we're reporting to you. I will tell you because this is the magic number everybody's waiting for, from March 17th to now, we did have 18 people infected with COVID. That's the total number. What's going around the community, I've heard 30, 35, and 60. So if you're a lottery playing person, you might want to play those numbers, but they're erroneous. And in my memo yesterday, what I said to you is I also want to stop the rumor mill, because people can just throw out numbers, and if you hear it, I heard in the bistro yesterday, one of my CNAs went to my director of nurses in the health center and said she had heard, I forget remember what the number was? 90. There were 90 residents infected. So we did investigate. We called that CNA in and said, can you tell me, like Michelle and Carrie Wally, it was a personal options aide. We said, where did that come from? Because we are tracing that type of information, because all you need to hear is we have 90 people, and you're going to say, what the hell is Peggy Joyce doing? Which I don't blame you, but we're not to that extent. So what I want to tell you today is the way we're going to report out is I'm very transparent. I don't hide numbers. You deserve to know. People are accusing me of not saying the truth and all kinds of things, and I think most of you know in the 4 years I've been pretty honest with all of you, but there are 10 residents. This is as of yesterday, and there was no new ones today, so I'm not hiding the 15 that were diagnosed today. There were 10 residents yesterday on isolation, on what we call quarantine. That means they cannot leave their apartment. So there's 10 people. Of those 10, there were spousal situations, husband, wife, so that's like 2 in an apartment. So there was only 10 people on isolation. The reason I'm saying 18 is 8 people have already gotten off isolation, and they're free to go about their business on the campus just wearing a mask. They're no longer infectious. So we say it's a 10-day window. First 5 days, you must stay home, you must isolate. Day 6 to 10, you can go throughout the building with a mask. We do ask you, and nursing does educate individuals, please don't go anywhere where there's large groups or you have to remove your mask, like a dining venue. Don't do that until day 11. By day 11, there's been no cases of COVID anywhere after day 11. So does that make sense? In addition, we also have a smaller group of people that we call on the monitoring list. And those are people that did get exposed to someone that was positive. Now, that group is the hardest group to manage, because I don't know if, the nurses may not know I had dinner with Chris last night and Chris is positive. She's not, I'm just using her as an example. But, I may not know, or the community nurses in particular may not know every person that you have been in touch with. So if you do turn positive, all I would ask is, if you know who you might have been with, we can't share that information from a professional level, but you might want to just be kind neighbor to neighbor and say, hey, I'm sorry, I just turned positive. I had dinner with you last night, just a heads up, just so you can watch for symptoms. And then if you become on that exposed list, which is the monitoring group, then wear a mask for 5 days. If you haven't developed symptoms in 5 days, you're good to go without a mask. So does all that make sense? So I will keep you updated as necessary. I have been asked to give you a daily number. I've been asked to give you a weekly memo. I will use my judgment to make sure that you're all kept abreast of how things are progressing. Dr. Askanase?
Yeah, thank you. In this period you're speaking of, how many people have been hospitalized with COVID?
0. Needless to say, 0 deaths, but no one has even gone to the hospital. There has been
that has to be emphasized.
Yeah, again, it's a different beast than what it once was, and I still understand people still have that. It was awful in the beginning. It was, you got it. You basically could have died. Now it's not that, and I have to say I'm so proud that I work at Whitney Center, because you, as a population of residents, know the value of vaccinations. I think we can honestly say 99.9% of our resident population are vaccinated. And that's why we're doing so well, because it has shown that works. Now, having said that, last year I heard everybody was recommending a once-a-year vaccine. they have changed their mind, and now they're saying you can have it anytime after 4 months from your last booster. So that's a personal choice. We're not going to be running a clinic because, again, it should hold you for a while, but we also know the further away you are from your booster, the less immunity that you have. So you should be talking to your doctor, asking them if you think you should get another booster. If you want a booster, all the local pharmacies give it every day, and there's no backup. You can almost do walk-ins in some of the pharmacies. So CVS, Walgreens, I believe even stores like Walmart offers it in their pharmacy department. So again, feel free to go out, and if you do get a vaccine, it would be great if you could let the community nurse know, though, just so we can keep a record, because we do a lot of trending when things like this happen. Carol?
Two quick questions. One is, do the people who the community nurse sees who are positive, do they remind the resident that they need to contact people to do contact tracing on that?
So
And the
I'm sorry, you had a second question.
second question is, we've reduced the extent of those who have been exposed from 10 days to 5 days of masking?
Correct. That is the new CDC and DPH recommendation. That came out about 3 months ago. So yes, it doesn't make sense for people that are exposed to have to wear a mask the same length of time as someone that had COVID. So CDC and DPH is saying now 5 days. The only exception to that is a spousal situation. So if your husband or wife, sister, brother that you live with has COVID, keep the mask on for 10 days because you're living in that COVID apartment. So your chances of getting it. What we're finding with this particular variant is if you have a spouse, it's almost a guarantee you're going to get the COVID as good as you can be because you're in such close quarters. In the past, we have had some people not get it, but this particular one, almost every single person we've seen that has a spouse has gotten it within a day or two later. So the contact tracing, that's a great question. Carol actually had sent me an email. This is one of the things that I appreciate, getting that type of feedback because we do contact tracing, but like I said, it's hard to do because we don't know everyone that you've been with. So what we're asking of all of you is if you have had, it's for 2 days prior to your positive result. So if you have dinner with someone tonight, tomorrow morning, you're positive, then you should include anybody you were with today and yesterday. So it's 2 days prior to your positive result. Just kind of think of who you were with, and if you could let those people know, because we may not know. And there are some people becoming upset with nursing for not notifying them that they had a dinner engagement with someone, but we didn't know that you had a dinner engagement. So if you could own part of that, anyone that we know you've been in touch with, we are reaching out to let you know you've been exposed.
Are you going to schedule another mass vaccination event here?
No, we're not. If you would like to get another vaccine, then all the local pharmacies can do it. If you are homebound and you cannot get out and your physician is recommending it, we will help you get that vaccine. But for the majority of all of you that are very independent, I encourage you to go out and get it. Yeah, I think you have to be, if you're part of the VA system, they also give it. Karen?
Yeah, Peggy, do I understand correctly that if someone is positive and they know who they ate with and everything, you want them to tell the community nurses who those people are?
Yeah,
so that you
that
can
would be
keep
great,
track
because then
of
she
it.
could just call
Okay.
the people that you dined with to say, hey, we wouldn't say it was you, because we're not allowed to share who has COVID, but we could say, last night at dinner, you're exposed to someone that is now positive. Most people figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But we can't
Yeah.
say, Karen Comezzo has positive COVID. But by deduction, most of you are smart enough to figure out who that person is, but.
But even if we tell those people, you still want to know, is that
If you
correct?
tell them not,
You don't.
well, we monitor the people so that it's not a surprise. Like if you ate dinner with Raphael last night, at least we'd give Raph a heads up. If you tell him, we wouldn't know that. And so if he becomes positive, we won't know that there's been a connection and he might have gotten COVID from you. Because we look to see where it's coming from. I will just add too, we have no team members with COVID. That's an important thing I should mention. So it's not coming from staff, because we look at all this. We really spend time and really dissect it to kind of figure out where did it come from, how did it get in, just so that, and not to blame anybody, but at least we have a better understanding. So that's why in my memo yesterday, I said, please tell your visitors, if they even have a sniffle, just postpone your visit. It's not worth, if they've tested and they're negative, they could be positive in 2 days. It takes 2 days to show up. So just have them stay home for a little bit. So yeah, the more, if you can tell community nursing, that would be very helpful.
So even if you told the person, it's
Yeah.
good to tell community nursing so
Yeah.
they can make the connection.
Because we do have
Thank you.
It's a monitoring list for those that are exposed.
A quick question.
I'm sorry.
If,
Okay. Hi, Deanie.
if people who follow the rules of using masks when they're exposed and whatever, do all that, do other people need to wear masks?
No, there's no mask requirement.
Exactly, thank you.
Yeah. There's, and I don't need to say this to, obviously, most of you are unmasked. It's all personal choice. I'm very comfortable in this community. I've been told that shame on me for not wearing a mask because I should send the message how important it is to mask. I am of your age group, and I am very comfortable. I've been vaccinated. I'm very comfortable roaming about, interacting with all of you. And even if I were to get COVID from an exposed person that doesn't know I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have a cold, probably be tired, which I am anyways. I don't know if I'd know the difference. More tired. It's not, and I want to just, again, I don't want to minimize it because there are some people here that are so heightened. I don't want them to feel like I'm not taking them seriously, but at the same time, it's something we're going to live with forever and ever. Just like the flu. Yes.
I just wondered if the memory care building is included in the statistics?
It is 0. They have 0 over there.
Okay, thank you.
The health center has 3 residents currently. And again, that's another thing, I'll put a little plug in for Michelle. If you're not feeling well, please don't visit your friends in the health center right now. Postpone your visit there too, because in the health center, it is a requirement that everybody is masked if we have 1 case. So everybody there does have to wear a mask. So if you're going to visit your friends and you're asked to put on a mask, that is the requirement.
If we are, we've been diagnosed with long COVID, does that affect anything that if we get it again, or?
No, long COVID is a term that they're really researching what that really means, because I don't know if they understand it completely. I think years to come we'll understand it more, but I haven't seen any different standards for people that have been told they have long COVID. But that's the case where you want to reach out to your physician, because I can't give medical advice. Reach out to your doctor and ask, should I or shouldn't I get the vaccine? Your doctor knows you best and should go by what they're telling you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are the masks a protection? I'm hoping to see I'm flying to see family on Easter, and one's a niece who is being treated for breast cancer. She may or may not get there, but I thought maybe I better.
No, that's a wise decision. Yeah.
Not see too many people in the next few days.
Yeah. That's why I said all of this is personal judgment. You know what's going on in your life. If you have something coming up, wearing a mask, I think is absolutely the right decision. But to mask for the sake of masking may not be something you have to always think about. But if you have something important, then you should mask.
There have been mild cases of COVID recently and some pretty nasty ones. So does it mean that our immune systems have gotten a bit of a boost because we've had COVID again?
Yeah, funny, it's such I wish I was an epidemiologist, because I'd probably make $1 million just researching all this, but I'll use my family. So I have 3 grandsons. They all had COVID right after New Year's. My son, his wife, and 3 little ones, including a 1-year-old. They all got it. Don't know where they got it from. They're really careful. I mean, I'm always on them. Don't go there. Don't go there. Yeah. So they know the rules very well. And then about 2 weeks ago, 2 of my grandsons weren't feeling well. And I said, well, I know it's not COVID because it's like a 90-day window of immunity. Guess what? They had COVID again. So everything we learned kind of went out the window for me. I'm like, okay, so it can happen again. Their case this time was very mild. They had really bad head congestion and coughs. Like the cough lasted like a month for these little boys. And when they got it just a few weeks ago, they didn't even have symptoms. The only reason they tested, they said they didn't feel great, and their other sets of grandparents had become positive, and they were together. So my son was smart enough to test them to see if it was COVID. Eileen?
I believe that the masks that Whitney Center provides are not 95 or KN95.
Correct.
But are they considered, I mean, if one feels that he or she should wear a mask, what protection is that style mask? Do you feel that's adequate?
The regular masks that you see around most of the residents in this room are certainly adequate. The N95s are recommended for caregivers taking care of people with COVID. So like when in the health center, the 3 residents that are positive in the health center, when their staff go in to take care of them, they're wearing N95s because it's a little bit better. It's a higher upgrade, but generally you don't need that, just in community settings. Okay, can I move on to, I was going to say 2 more things, one happy, one not so happy. I'll do the unhappy one first. I just want to make sure everybody heard. We had a death of one of our CNAs in the health center recently. It was a car accident. It was Naomi Wright. She was a cherished member of our team, and our staff really had a very difficult time with her passing. She was only 23 years old. So it was very sad. The health center went through a lot of trauma. Thank you. I don't know if Maria LaSala is still here, but Maria did 2 beautiful services for them. We also had the employee assistance program come in to offer support. But they, when you work with people, she's been here a while too. So not only were they colleagues, but they were friends. Many of the CNAs did go to her funeral service, which was lovely. But I just want you to have you keep her in your prayers that we lost one of our own. And then on a more uplifting, I'll end on an uplifting note, we do have a new social worker in the health center. I won't say Nick's replacement because Nick can never be replaced, but she's pretty darn good. Her name is Kimberly Leak. She comes to us from Yale New Haven Health System. She's a social worker at the hospital, and she's been here just about a month. I will have Michelle bring her at the next meeting and introduce you to her. I knew today would probably be not the meeting to bring her to. So next month, she'll be more seasoned and she'll be able to enjoy her introduction. Anything else for me? Again, thank you for being patient. And again, anything I can do, you can always reach out to me with any thoughts. Thank you. I'm going to bring up Ken.
Thank you, Peggy, and thank you for keeping our community safe. We go back to the very beginning of time and where we are today, and as Peggy said, it's just something we're going to live with. So thank you, Peggy, and your team. So it seems, I'm Ken Sandberg, Vice President of our Lifestyle Services. It seems to be that safety's on all of our minds, and that's actually what my report is about today, is about safety. So currently, in the resident safety issues and concerns goes to the Resident and Health and Safety Committee. And so what typically happens is that there are some safety items that go to that committee that really fall beyond that committee. So a lot of times Peggy will give me a call and she'll want me to give an update on a situation here or a situation there. Then what we decided, Peggy and I and Raphael got together with Lynn Hawkins and John Tully, and we said, you know something, let's take a look at this a little bit differently. We know that, there's the Health and Safety Committee, but there are some things that go beyond that. And so let's create this council of administration and resident council leadership to come together on a monthly basis to bring some concerns there. And it's just not going to be the 5 of us. We will bring other people in as needed to really take a look at some safety items. So for instance, I'll give you an example. We have 1 or 2 mirrors by the elevators. And so there's a request for more mirrors around all the corners. And so we're saying, well, we have to evaluate this because are people even looking at those mirrors? And what we've decided is it's really about an awareness. So do we need to do a community awareness campaign? So we go from a request of one thing because of an issue to something a little bit broader. And that's what really the Safety Council is all about. It's really about broadening out the issues, bringing people together to solve the problem. It's not administration or staff solving the problem or the residents solving the problem. We're a community. Let's come together and let's solve that problem together. So that is something that we are actively working on. We have a monthly meeting, which is going to be the third Friday of every month. And our first topic is going to be awareness, safety awareness. And we will be inviting a few residents and some team members into that meeting to make sure that we get the right perspective. So that's one main topic I wanted to bring up. The other main topic about safety has to do with Leader Hill Drive. There's been a lot of conversation and requests about the speeding that goes on Leader Hill Drive. Now that we own Meadow Mills across the street, you know, the dangers of walking back and forth. We want people to walk back and forth, but the dangers of walking back and forth. So just to bring it back a little bit, it was probably last fall, or maybe even before that, we put a request into the town. The town has a traffic commission. So we put a request in for some traffic calming along Leader Hill and a crosswalk to go from our two communities. At that time, as you can imagine, there's a lot of residents in the town of Hamden that are requesting traffic calming along their street. So the traffic commission put a halt to all traffic calming activity in the town of Hamden, until they could come up with a framework to evaluate which streets really require it the most. And so they came up with a framework, and as it so happens, and I believe I said this before, but it could be new to some people, Leader Hill was actually number 2 on that list. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We have our property here, we have the school next door, so we are very high on the list to do some traffic calming along Leader Hill Road. In fact, there were a few of you last Thursday, the Whitneyville Civic Association had a presentation. Stephen White, the town engineer, came in and did a presentation and talked about some traffic calming that's going to happen along Leader Hill. There's going to be some speed tables placed in, and I think there's going to be some other things. But yesterday I was actually talking to some of our legislative council representatives who were at that meeting as well, and they're recommending, and I agree, that we have the presentation here at Whitney Center. So those residents that went yet last week saw it, but there's only a few of them. So we're actually now have a request into the town to do a presentation on traffic calming along Leader Hill. So we are actively working there. And I bring that up as well because this is another area that we can talk about at the Safety Council meeting with the residents, with our residents and our administration together. So that's just another safety issue that we are actually in the process of dealing with. So that is really my report today, and it's all about safety, and safety is the theme today. So I would welcome any questions. Oh, no, it's not the end of my report today. I forgot one item. And I actually have it right here, and I forgot. So, and I knew you were going to be asking me the question about the acoustics in the bistro. Mark Brown, our engineer, and I'll have Mark maybe work with Mark to come up here the next town meeting to really give a more of an in-depth discussion. But Mark is actively working with NSP Acoustico on some specifications for acoustic tiles and acoustic panels in the bistro. So he's actively working on that. He said the drawings should be complete within the next 3 weeks or so. So that's in time for the next town meeting. But Mark Brown, our engineer, is actively working with a firm to come up with a design for the acoustics in the bistro. So thank you for reminding me. Are there any other questions? Yes, Lynn.
And speaking of the acoustics, could there be a schedule for dumping the ice in the Coke machine before 7:30, between 10:30 and 11:30, and whatever the afternoon open hours are, unless there's an ice cream social? Because that just, it wipes out everybody's hearing aid
Yeah.
for a
No,
minute or two.
yeah.
It's not a joke, it
Yeah,
does.
Yeah, no, Lynn, thank you, yes. And Lynn Nastri is here, and she will certainly make note of that and is working with the staff on that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not just one thing, right? The tiles, the acoustic panels could be one thing, but it's also the noise that's coming from the staff or the other equipment. So thank you for bringing that up, and we'll, yes, exactly. Okay. If there's no more further questions, I'm going to invite Mike Rambros up, our CEO, for an update. Maybe? Maybe not.
Okay, 4 minutes? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. I don't have much to say. A great job today, team. Peggy, thanks for that comprehensive perspective on COVID. Cynthia did a great job, didn't she? Yes, I see that stuff, and I get so filled with pride. It's awesome to see our staff step up like that and be given the opportunity to step up. Just very quickly, there was at the House and Grounds, last two House and Grounds committee, I've showed up and confused people at the first one, and probably confused them a little more at the second one, but I just want to let the community know we are taking a comprehensive look at all common space on the campus. And our intent is to hold a series of workshops, probably all during one day, that will examine the way we currently use the common spaces in our community, the way we would like to use common spaces in our community, and what additional needs we might have based on those wishes. And then probably some schematic designing conversation about what the possibility is for some of these common spaces. And that includes everything from the office suite that Ken, Maria, Janet, and myself are in, all the way through every common space on the first floor, headed towards the health center and up on the 6th floor. So we're going to look at everything. And I'm going to throw in the common spaces that we have over at Meadow Mills, because that is part of the campus, and we want to consider those as well. So there will be a community-wide conversation. It'll be structured, that we can get everyone's input, and then we'll finally make some decisions on how to move forward there. Okay? That's all I have. It is noon. Thank you so much. Great meeting, guys.